Councilmember Bria.
Here.
Councilmember Elam.
Here.
Councilmember Fry.
Here.
Vice President Kingsley.
Here.
We'll note that President Sokolowski is absent and Mayor Aronson.
Here.
Thank you.
First thing on the agenda is Council President announcements. So we'll get the Vice President announcements tonight. As far as I know, the borough has not received any public comments on the May 20th public meeting or any comments pertaining to tonight's agenda. Is that still true, Rich?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. So the next thing on the agenda is one presentations, is swearing in of a career firefighter and a fire police officer. Mayor Aronson, William, Joe Valio, and Howard K. Walker. I don't know who to do first.
Mr. Joe. Can you hold that?
Oh, sure.
Nope.
State your name, please.
I, Joseph Valio,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
obey, and defend
obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and this Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge
and I will discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
What's that? It's been a long time.
Living up people now, cover your legs anyway.
Wow.
I have to do layers.
Short people in the back.
Can I ask you to take pictures for me? Are you no good at it?
Not really.
I can do it for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Chris and Kels, they're all looking. 1, 2, 3.
Great. And then we need to talk to Joe and his family and council.
Hi, Megan.
We're gonna wait for the fire. He's gotta be sworn in. We're waiting, we have 5 voice out. You did? Yeah, just sneak out. Just, if you're out there in the lobby, just keep it down, because it gets loud. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, be quiet out there. It's loud.
Yes, Chief. I'm talking to you.
I think we're trying to go for contingency.
Can you make sure?
How do you think I felt?
Okay. I state your name, please.
I, Howard Daywall,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
obey, and defend
obey, and defend
the Constitution
the
of the United
Constitution of
States
the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge
and that I will discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations.
All right, so we got Chief, Lieutenant.
I want to break the camera.
Did you say we done? I want to be in the middle. Fire emblem.
One, two, three.
Give him some.
Oh, it's not a, we're up in the military, we're good.
No. Wait.
That's the prettiest thing, but it works.
Well, that's cool. It's the Constitution. That's awesome.
Ready, Paul? Oh, all set. Okay, so the next thing on the agenda is Montgomery County American 200 presentation, Tessa Robinson, Valley Forge Tourism Convention Board. So we'd like to come to the podium and explain what's going on with the tourism.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for having us. I know that some of you have seen this presentation before, so we'll try to run through it pretty quickly. I also have my colleague, Asia Kramer. She is our membership manager here with us tonight, so she can speak to membership a little bit more. So when it comes to who we are and what we do, I like to just give a brief overview of our organization and explain how it works, as a lot of people aren't sure. We are the sales and marketing organization for Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. We promote the county as a destination for sporting events, meetings, conventions, and leisure travel. We are a private nonprofit 501c, which means that we are funded by the hotel tax. So for every hotel room sold in Montgomery County, we then get 4% of that back into our revenue, which we then pour back into the county and getting more people to stay over. So it's a very cyclical nature and relationship. As for why we call ourselves Valley Forge instead of Montgomery County, we get that question a lot, so I like to answer that first and foremost, and that's because there are 18 Montgomery counties in the country. So we have a sales team that goes nationally and internationally, and we find that people are more familiar with the Valley Forge name due to the national park and the history that happened there, opposed to Montgomery County. So we do refer to ourselves as Valley Forge just for that recognition piece, but we also market the entirety of the county. We serve businesses all across from Ambler to Pottstown, not just the Valley Forge area. Here's our mission and our vision, a must-experience destination rooted in the past and leading the future, and our mission is to inspire the world to fall in love with Montgomery County, PA. And then just some real quick numbers as to why tourism is so important in Montgomery County and why our jobs are important to continue to bring in tourism. There's a $2.5 billion economic impact per year on our area and our community from tourism alone. We're expecting that to be even higher this year because of a lot of the regional things going on. And tourism supplies about 40,000 jobs in our community to the people that live here. We have two separate sides of our office, the marketing team and the sales team. As for marketing, we have a lot of in-house capabilities. We have our website, social, we have a PR team. Asia actually handles our co-op and our advertising, so we have a lot of advertising opportunities for our members and for small businesses that they wouldn't get elsewhere. We have an in-house creative team, graphic designers that do all of our design work, and then we also have a mascot. Some of you might have seen him out and about. He's a big furry fox, Monty, who helps us promote the region and the brand. And then I'll turn things over to Asia to talk about membership a little bit.
Yeah, so as Tessa was saying, we're a membership-based organization, and our membership program really is built to support local businesses throughout the county. It's mostly restaurants, hotels, attractions, anything that hits on that hospitality world. A lot of services too, so photographers, rental companies, anything that we may need to call on to service either the events that are coming in or that our other members might need as well. We support them, as Tessa said, digitally on the website, on social media. We'll talk more about that soon. But we also try to build it up to be a community that really supports each other and provides resources throughout the county for all of them to take advantage of. We have a lot of members here in Conshohocken, especially restaurants, so we're looking forward to expanding that a little more and just explaining that we do have these great resources they can take advantage of. A lot of people don't know that we offer this membership program, so the more that we can get out there and spread the word, the better. Some of the opportunities that we offer them are by being in our digital and print publications. We've got 3 here that we produce annually. There's a dining guide, an arts and culture guide, and then our visitors guide, which is all encompassing. We print more than 200,000 copies of this and distribute them to all of the hotels and the major attractions across the county. Great visibility for local businesses, and visitors really do use this as a resource when they're planning their trip of what is there to do in Montgomery County and what's being offered.
So when it comes to our website, we're very proud of our website. We redesigned it last year ahead of A250 in this historic year. We see about 3 million annual page views to our website, and all of those people are looking for things to do, places to stay. So we love to spotlight and highlight a lot of our members and small businesses on our website, as then that gets them even more visibility when people are looking for things to do and where to go. We've actually seen more than 3 million page views so far this year, which is crazy, and that just speaks to the interest in the area due to a lot of those bigger events that are here. We also have a consumer e-news blast that goes out to about 17,000 subscribers, and there are special spots in those blasts as well to highlight events and members all across the county. When it comes to our social media, we are primarily on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We have about 300,000 followers across those platforms, and we're growing. And you can see on the right, that's just an example of some of the content that we produce for our social channels. This is Maple Acres Farm and Plymouth Meeting. We like to focus on seasonal content. We see that it does really well as itinerary-based content. So a lot of people are looking for, what to do in a day, first stop here, second stop, third stop, and so on. That seems to do really well and helps us with some of that visibility. And then we see about 25 million video views per year. And that is also climbing as well. So we've actually hit about...
The video content was too cool. It broke.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No worries. Thank you. So as I was saying, we're actually at about 40 million video views this year so far, and that's only continuing to grow as well, which again is a testament to how much interest there is in this area and our businesses and our members this year as people are coming to the region.
So another huge member benefit that we offer to local businesses we have these fun annual events, and this is how we build that community. Rev Run, we host every April. It's our way of giving back to the National Valley Forge Historic Park. All of the funds that are That'll pop up. I'm going to keep talking. All of the funds that we raise during the run are donated directly back to park improvements. So it's a national treasure right in our backyard. We truly want to support them. This year we raised $100,000 to give back to them just from that run, and it grows every year. We also have member events to help them network with each other. So we have our travel rally, which celebrates National Travel and Tourism Week. We just did that last week, as well as our Montco meetups, which are smaller networking events that we host around the county. We actually have had one in Conshohocken at Southern Cross Kitchen, who's a great member of ours, but just gives them an opportunity. They're free to attend, an opportunity to connect with our team, learn more about what we're doing for them, and connect with each other. And then, of course, our largest event of the year is our annual luncheon. It's always at the end of October. It'll be on Thursday, October 29th. Over 700 people came last year. We're expecting more this year. We'd love everyone to be there. It's a way for us to update everyone on what we've worked on and achieved so far as a tourism board, but what we're looking forward to in the future as well, and how we're supporting tourism in Montgomery County.
Let's see. Can we get stuck? Oh, there we go. Okay. Thank you. Did you just click? Perfect.
There we go.
Next, our Montco Jazz Fest. We include this because we are constantly changing how this looks, and we not only want feedback, but also participants in our Montco Jazz Fest. So we're going into our 5th year. This was our way to support the arts and the arts community in Montco. So we decided to create a week-long jazz fest that happens in September of every year, and basically it's venues all across the county that are either already have live jazz musicians or are open to hosting live jazz musicians. We always have a logo. It's a whole week long. We create t-shirts. And we see a lot of people that are very, very interested and big fans of our Jazz Fest, but every year we're trying to make it better. So basically this year we added it into our slides to talk about, just so we could get feedback, get some ideas from people from different townships and boroughs, and if you have any venues that are interested in participating or that are already doing live jazz music, please let us know. We'd love to connect and talk about how we can include you in this year's. And then before we get into America 250 stuff, we always have to do a Freedom from Hunger plug. We have a fall food drive every year that we call Freedom from Hunger. It supports MON, which is the Montco Anti-Hunger Network. They support over 70 soup kitchens and food pantries throughout the county. So this is very near and dear to our hearts. We kick it off at the end of August every year with a kitchen takeover. We usually go to Pottstown or Norristown, and our team works out of a soup kitchen for the day. We feed the community, and then that kicks off our fall drive. So last year we were very blessed to raise over $75,000, I believe, for Freedom from Hunger. And this year our goal is to raise 250,000 pounds of food in honor of 250 and just to give back to the community. And then here is our new commercial this year. This is a spot we're running on a lot of the major networks and with a lot of the major sports teams all around the county and regionally to promote our area as a historic destination and somewhere that you don't want to miss this year for America 250.
Oh, sorry, ladies. It's okay. Thank you.
Back in action. I think it's the videos, yeah. We don't have sound either, so I can just speak to this and then we can go to the next slide. The park this year decided to make their marketing campaign Retreat to Valley Forge, which we really liked and we kind of stole a little bit. So this was our take on Retreat to Valley Forge. Basically our messaging is to encourage people that are in the area, whether in Montgomery County or just the Philadelphia region already, to retreat out to Valley Forge. As we know, there's so much going on this year. There's a lot of chaos in the city and surrounding areas. So we're basically asking people to retreat to Valley Forge and Montgomery County for some R&R, the way that George Washington kind of retreated with his troops and regrouped in Valley Forge. That's kind of the play on our words there. So this was one way that we decided to market the county. This is obviously very focused on our historic sites, but we are marketing everything that the county has to offer this year, especially for some of those sporting events that are coming in. We have a lot of golf, we have a lot of youth sports tournaments, and a lot of fun things to do for families. So we're capitalizing on all avenues. And then we're very, very excited about our Houses of Declaration initiative. This is coinciding with the 4th of July, America's 250th birthday, and Valley Forge National Historic Park's 50th birthday. So basically the weekend of the 4th of July, the 3rd through the 5th, we are having different townships and boroughs participate by reading live readings of the Declaration of Independence. And this was inspired the way that people would have heard the Declaration of Independence back in the day, whether you were in the town square, a tavern with some friends, out and about. People would have came through on horses with the scroll and the hat and read the declaration, and that's how people would have heard about it for the first time. So we are kind of using that concept to bring it back 250 years later. These are the participating towns so far. We have about 20 locations. But if there are any additional places that would like to, or events that would like to have a live reading of the Declaration, please let us know. We are taking further venues for this. I kind of already spoke to our Retreat to Valley Forge messaging, but it is also 50 years of Valley Forge National Historic Park this summer. We're very excited. They're the only park that shares a birthday with our country, so it's very exciting. They're expecting a couple thousand people over at the park for that weekend, the 4th of July weekend, the 3rd through the 5th. They're going to be doing educational workshops, programming, reenactments, musket firings, all of that. And then they're actually gearing up for their 250th anniversary, which will be in 2027 and 2028, of when George Washington and his troops were at the encampment at Valley Forge. And then our Pennsylvania Highway of Heroes, we joined this initiative with the Visit PA. They asked 6 historic sites across the state to participate in this kind of web-based check-in program. If you visit all 6 of these locations, you get that commemorative coin set that you see on the left there. So we're very proud that Valley Forge National Park is included and that the Arch is included as one of those significant stops along the way. This is running from March of this year to March of next year, and we've already seen a lot of interest in it, and is another way that we are marketing the county. Come here for this, but then stay for, some of our businesses, hotels, restaurants. And then I know a lot of you have seen and heard this before, but this is our calendar. It's not meant to be read, it's just meant to be looked at, just to show how much we have going on this year and how much we are capitalizing on a lot of these regional events. So as you can see, all the major sporting events, all of the major events in Philadelphia, our goal is to draw people out into our county, into our businesses, all during this year while they're here. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, please let us know. We're always at your disposal for anything that might be going on in Conshohocken or anything that you might need help with.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you know specifically where these readings are going to be within each municipality, or do you have a list of that?
We do. I don't have it on me currently. Kirsten Tallman is our Director of Visitor Services, and she's spearheading the initiative. So we do have a running list of those exact places. A lot of them are parks, parades, events that are already happening that weekend, but there are some, restaurants and hotels involved as well. So if you're interested in seeing it, we can absolutely send it over.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions?
Just a question. This is more out of curiosity. You mentioned 2.5 billion tourism.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever break that out by municipality and look at who's bringing in what in that kind of mix, or no?
I'm sure. We have our VP of Ops and our data research, they research specialists, they do a lot of that, like the different markets and figuring out, all of those numbers and where they're coming from. So again, if you're interested in that, we could absolutely meet with them and get some information to send over to you.
And for the local businesses, you mentioned the socials and how you push certain businesses through them. How, aside from being a member, is there anything they need to do that's special for them to be highlighted?
Yeah, that's a great question. We actually get that question very often. Our members are obviously, we try to, put them forward because they are part of our organization, they pay for our membership, but as we all know, social media is, it's engagement and what people are interested in. So a lot of the times, businesses that have high quality photos or are already posting a lot on social get our attention. We always say, we don't know what we don't know. So there's so many businesses in Montgomery County. Honestly, just tagging us on social media and sending us things on social media is a great way to get our eyes on it. And then we can either come out and visit or, see what that's about and come visit and do a social content.
Gotcha.
We also have the hashtag Make It Monco. We encourage people to use that. And there's a live feed on our website on the main page. All of the Make It Monco posts get pulled into that.
Okay.
So just extra exposure for them.
And sorry, last question. Did you have something else?
No, go ahead.
You mentioned youth sports. So we're right next to the Proving Grounds.
Yeah.
Do you have partnerships with those that actually drive people to the local areas that are directly next to them? Or is there any thought process of how you develop that relationship further?
Yes.
With specifically us in mind, because we are literally right there.
You teed up a great segue. So we actually worked on, I don't believe it was the end of last year, the beginning of this year, but our sports team, we have 3 dedicated sports individuals. They worked with our videographer. We have a videographer partner to highlight Conshohocken specifically for the Proving Grounds. So it's a whole cut together video reel of different Conshohocken businesses and then clips of players playing at the proving ground. So basically we post that whenever we have tournaments or youth sports coming into the proving ground specifically to say, here's all these great places to go in Conshohocken. So we can absolutely send a link over to that as well,
Okay.
just so you can get your eyes on it, because it is a pretty cool piece.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
I heard you're going to be in Conshohocken this Saturday for the Arts Festival.
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
Or Mobile, as we call it, our traveling tourism desk. Yeah.
Mobile.
We'll be there.
And we will be promoting that on social as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Of course.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having us.
You're awesome.
Okay, great. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is discussion on the RFP for the Conshohocken Cab Shuttle Program. Caitlin Valliere, GBS, could you come to the podium, please? Did I pronounce that correct one?
Yeah, you did, actually. Most people don't, but thank you. Hi, my name is Caitlin Valliere. I'm with GVF. We are a Transportation Management Association. We've been managing shuttles since our inception in 1990, and we do the Upper Marion Rambler and corporate shuttles for GSK. We've done shuttles for Vanguard, the Park. So we've been managing shuttles for a really long time, and we're here to ask you to advertise an RFP to continue the Conshohocken cab service. So the cab has been in service since 2024. It was a one-year contract with 2 optional renewals, and we're asking to advertise a 2-year contract for 2027 and 2028 with 3 optional 1-year renewals through 2031. Suggesting that it's advertised on June 19th with a due date of July 24th. So just a little bit about the shuttle. These are the current stop locations for the cab. This is what will be also advertised in the RFP. There are 20 locations, and then you can switch to the next slide. And then for the evening route, some of the locations, the route gets shortened so that it stays strictly within the borough and doesn't go out to Plymouth Township. So then also this contract includes provisions for flexibility. One of the things that we've been working with the borough on is using the cab for different borough events, such as the St. Patrick's Day Parade, the bike race and car show, and art show that's coming up this weekend. It'll run a modified route since Fayette Street is closed, but it'll get people from one end of the borough to the other. Some other special events were the Black Friday shuttle that ran last year. That took people to the tree lighting ceremony as well as to shopping during the day. There was a 4th of July event shuttle, and then other events as needed. So for example, today, the community center had a senior barbecue, and residents who didn't have their own transportation were able to sign up. They got a time for pickup and a time for drop off, and the cab went to their house, picked them up, took them to the barbecue, and then took them home. So they were able to get to the event when otherwise they wouldn't have been able to. So as you can see, this is our ridership since 2024. So this is average monthly ridership presented quarterly. We had a large increase in ridership at the end of last year, which we kind of attribute to additional promotions and then additional events that we use the shuttle for. We did see a dip at the beginning of this year, but that was consistent with all of our shuttles, and we think that that was due to how bad the weather was at the beginning of this year. There are many people who ride the shuttle who use it as their sole transportation to get to Giant for shopping or around the borough in other ways, and a lot of those people, some of them have mobility challenges, and so with the large snowfall, we kind of think that maybe those people who normally would ride it weren't riding it. So we did see that that's consistent with all of our shuttles. But we're hoping and we are expecting that we see a pickup in ridership for the rest of the year with all of the great events that are going on in Conshohocken. And then Steph, did you want me to discuss the other?
Well, just first
questions?
And I'll have you go into the segue into the other. But again, the draft RFP was provided in your meeting materials for you to review. This is not approving the Conshohocken cab operation. It is simply for you to review the RFP in its draft format, provide any feedback on it, and then on your June 17th agenda, there'll be consideration to advertise the RFP, and then it'll go through the same RFP process that we do with all of the RFPs that release. So we'll receive any responses, you'll receive a bid tabulation along with costs that are associated with that. And then that decision will get built into whether or not you want to continue funding this service for borough residents and businesses in your budget conversation. So that's the plan as laid out, and moving in this time frame sets you up to have a bid tab with real numbers that rolls you into September. And thank you to Caitlin and her team for turning around a document, and Mike for reviewing it and doing revisions to get us to stay with that timeline.
Caitlin, the first quarter was lower than obviously the last quarter, but it's very consistent with the first quarter of 2025 and 2024. So are you concerned about that drop off or not?
I'm not, especially given how bad the weather was. There were multiple weeks throughout January and February where people really weren't leaving their house. We did see it with, like I said, we run a community shuttle in Upper Marion, and that ridership has been very consistent since about 2022. And they had a drop off in the first quarter of 2026 as well, and has begun to rebound just like the Conshohocken ridership has. I'm not concerned just because that was kind of a weird winter for us for a lot of reasons.
Right. Okay, anybody else have questions? Oh, thank you.
I just have,
go ahead.
I just have one. Remind me, when we talked about this, is more of a question for council. Did we talk about goals for what we wanted to see out of this when we were budgeting for it? Did we actually hammer out anything? I don't remember ever having like ridership goals or functional usage goals for this, correct?
In the budget conversation, we discussed treating it as a service.
Yeah, the service, but even the goals for it being a service and achievable metrics for it, we didn't really hammer those out, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I'm just putting that out there as we roll into this. That's something that should absolutely be involved moving forward here. And again, not pertinent to an RFP, but it is something that you know, I'd encourage all of us to take a look at. So.
Something I would like to see added to this RFP, this is a little bit technical, I apologize, but given that council has debated the continued funding of this program in the past, I think we should add a termination clause for non-appropriation. So what that would basically do is allow the Borough of Conshohocken to terminate the contract in the event that we decide to no longer provide funding to the program in an upcoming budget year. Otherwise, if we move to award, it's a 2-year term. You're sort of locking in your course once you award that contract. Where if you have the non-appropriation clause, you know, you can't terminate for any reason, but if our budget did not allocate funding to this program, we would be able to get out of the contract. You've done one before.
Really?
Is that it? Anybody else?
Okay,
Nothing?
and I just, do you want to give an update on the My School in Motion grant?
Sure. So one of our other programs is My School in Motion, and we are on our 4th round of funding for that, and it's with different school districts for every 2-year cycle. So we were just notified last week that we were awarded $427,000 to implement the My School in Motion program in Colonial School District and in Phoenixville School District. And it's a 2-year program, and it teaches students pedestrian and bicycle safety laws. We work with the school and the community to make the area around the school more walkable and bikeable long-term. And we've seen in other communities that our work has translated into additional funding for road safety programs such as additional signage, pedestrian flashing lights, extra crosswalks. And so we are excited to announce that. And one of the schools that we'll be working with closely is the Conshohocken Elementary School, especially because that is in a very walkable area, and many of the students there walk to the school. So hoping to help with that, and you'll hear more from us soon. That officially starts July 1.
So again, Caitlin and her team coordinated through the borough to the superintendent of the Colonial School District. So thank you for getting that in place. And I do believe, based off of the feedback that we received from council, especially as it pertains to our growing youth population, that walking and biking is becoming more and more important. And so this grant is focusing specifically on that initiative.
I just think that's great. I just want to add one comment there, as we're seeing kind of this new trend. If we could possibly have education around electric
Yes.
vehicles, especially scooters, bikes, use of helmets, and how to be safe
Yeah,
in public.
and that's exactly what the grant is about. This was kind of a last-minute addition to our presentation, but if you wanted to check out schoolinmotion.com, I have a brand-new safety tips page that I just put up.
Awesome.
That includes some of the micromobility. You just have to be a little bit careful because e-scooters are not currently legal in Pennsylvania on roads, on public roads. So,
Thank you.
any other questions?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the next thing on the agenda is land use matters, public hearings and ordinances. There's nothing under that agenda item. The next agenda item is council business. We're going to discuss a special event application for a block party in the 200 block of West 4th Avenue. Could Austin Murphy come to the podium, please?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi, guys. How you doing? My name's Austin. I live right here on West 4th down the street. My wife and I have been here for a little over 3 years, and we just welcomed our first child, and all of a sudden we started meeting our neighbors, which we haven't met before. And I thought, what a better way to actually meet them than to host a block party. So I don't know if you guys have seen the application, but we want it to be relatively basic. BYOB, potluck, everyone just sort of bring what you want to eat and drink, something shareable, play music, and preferably block off the street so that some of the younger kids can ride their bikes and do kid stuff. I feel like people don't talk anymore, and I'm trying to fix that on my street. So,
Have you attended any of the block parties in town anywhere else?
I have not, but I was told that East 9th does it or something.
They are very proud of that.
I feel like mine
The
will not
400
be
block
as
of
nice
East
as
9th.
theirs, but
And they often compete with the 200 block of East 8th for the title of the best block party. So you have some stiff competition.
I didn't realize I was stepping into a competition. Oh my God, might need to resubmit my application.
Yeah. So basically, you're just going to close off, so they'll have people can cross Maple Street, no problem, and Wood actually ends there, it doesn't go through. So that doesn't seem to be any problem. We all saw your application. It's pages and pages long. Does anybody have any questions?
I just have sorry, go ahead, Adrian.
I'm just curious how many, because this is new. I know part of it is that I love this sort of thing, that your neighbors are coming together and meeting each other. How many of the neighbors on that block have you talked to about this?
Probably 4 or 5.
Okay.
That are all on board with the date. We all picked the date that we could all make work, and then we went from there. So.
Great. You'll have attendees and
Exactly.
kids too, I assume. What's your plan, say this does get approved, for then kind of getting the rest of the block involved and on board?
Yeah, actually, I made a flyer, but my wife had to change the date, so I had to throw those out. But I'm gonna just print out those flyers and hand them out to all the houses on our block. So I put like a QR code to contact me with a little Google form with your name, who you're bringing, stuff like that. So.
Okay.
And it's open to the public, so say somebody doesn't live on West 4th, they could still?
Yeah, absolutely. The more the merrier.
I just wanted to say what you said, where people don't talk to each other anymore. That is like the best statement I've ever heard. I live in an area right up on 10th, and we are an extremely close neighborhood, to the point where I'm actually the godfather of my neighbor after living next to him, of his son, never go my neighbor, of his son after living next to them for a decade plus. If you build a community like that, it's probably one of the coolest things you can do. And you sound like the kind of guy who's doing it because you're already taking initiative to do a block party. But just great statement. That's all I wanted to say on that. The application's fine with me, but like that outlook and actually wanting to get to know the people around you is such like a lost art nowadays.
Truly.
And it's refreshing to hear somebody say that, because you're not, trust me, you're in this area, you're not alone. There's a lot of people who, kids, they're out with them, they want to know who lives next to them, they want to be involved with the people directly around them. And this is a great first step, so, you know, kudos to you. I'll try and make it. I love block parties.
Any other questions?
And this has been evaluated and vetted through all the directors, and they're all good with it. And thank you for submitting such a sufficient application with everything included.
Maybe the other block parties can learn from it.
I think you have to go pretty far to beat East Ninth Avenue.
Well, we'll do that for the second annual. How about
Yeah,
that?
okay.
Guys, does that mean like it's approved or what is the
Well, there's no
process?
vote tonight. We'll vote at the next voting meeting in 2 weeks.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Coming down from me on the 17th. Confirms.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for coming in. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is manager matters. Review and discuss proposals received in response to the RFP for traffic engineering services for the Fayette Street Road Diet Project. Steph, can you review the bid tabulation for that?
Yes. So just some quick reminders. At the February voting meeting, we authorized advertisement of the RFP for traffic engineering services, specifically for the Road Diet Project. It was advertised in April. It did take us a little bit of time between your approval to get PennDOT's final approval on the specifications of the RFP, so then it was advertised in April. We've received a total of 3 bids from Carroll Engineering Corporation, Pannoni Associates, and Colliers Engineering and Design. The project is being funded through a PennDOT MTF grant. Therefore, selection of the engineering firm must meet the MTF guidelines, which require selection based solely on technical aspects of the proposal and qualifications of the firm and team. Once we at the borough has selected based on qualifications, then we can commence negotiations with the top ranking firm using the cost proposals submitted with the submissions that were submitted in a separate proposal. So tonight, we're not really talking about costs. We're simply talking about the firms that replied to the RFP and the qualifications of each of those firms. So we did an evaluation internally of the 3 entities that submitted. We felt that 2 of the entities met the specifications of the RFP. 1 of the entities we felt did not meet the specifications of the RFP, mostly based off of the fact that the project timeline that was submitted in the RFP response did not meet the borough's expectations. We are looking to retain the services of a traffic engineering firm, have the project designed, and have the project ready for bidding and in the early part of 2027, with construction happening shortly after once weather permits. And one of the firms pushed construction into the 2028 timeline. And that doesn't line up with what the borough's goals are at this point. All 3 firms did take a position of a task-related approach to the scope of the work. So in that aspect, they were similar. All 3 firms provided sufficient documentation of similar projects in other municipalities. However, there is one firm, specifically Pannoni, that has direct experience completing roadway and traffic improvements in the Borough of Conshohocken and in West Conshohocken. They are the entity that already compiled the initial feasibility study for the Fayette Street Safety Improvement Project, as well as numerous other infrastructure projects along state roads. That's an important distinction in the borough over the last 15 years. And they did focus specifically on traffic calming projects and road diets in their submission. Again, we talked about project timeline. 2 of the firms, being Carroll and Pannoni, were in that 18-month range. Colliers did not follow the same sequence of timeline. References, again, they were all provided. Again, Pannoni is the current traffic engineer for the Borough of Conshohocken, so that institutional knowledge and experience of working with the borough for the past 15 years makes them the most qualified entity to participate in this project. And then just in our internal evaluation in terms of qualifications and technical aspects, all three entities are qualified. However, if you're looking at the most qualified, the administration is going to recommend that council consider Pannoni. Again, there's no decision this evening. That'll be back on your agenda on the 17th. They're already a part of the borough team. They're aware of all the key players and issues. They're also involved in all other projects that require traffic engineering in the borough that the road diet's going to tie into. So there's a lot of different aspects of each of those projects that this is going to have, that's going to affect this project. Basically, that institutional knowledge with a project of this scope is unmatched by the other two entities. So we were evaluating their responses specifically to determine if there were technical or qualifications that were provided in their RFP responses that would disqualify Pannoni as an entity to consider. And we did not feel that the other two engineering firms were able to accomplish that. So we do think that Pannoni is positioned for your consideration in terms of qualifications. And most importantly, I think it's important to note that Pannoni has, because they're already our traffic engineer, they've been communicating with PennDOT on this particular project. They are the entity that approached PennDOT on our behalf to discuss the project, to get PennDOT to put their stamp of approval on the project, assist with the grant application that was received for the project. So for us, that's what our internal assessment and evaluation determined. We do appreciate the interests of the other firms in the engineering services for the project, but based off of our assessment, that's going to be the administration recommendation. And at this point, again, no decisions, back on your agenda for 6/17 specifically so you have time to deliberate. And also we can take any public comment that we may receive on the topic as well before we consider appointing an engineer. So at this point, anything else do you need me to add for that?
No, not at all. And I'll note my experience with Pannoni has been fantastic. There's no one better than Brian, so I agree.
Any questions?
Is Pannoni also dealing with like White Marsh and Plymouth for the portion down in North Lane?
They will be required for any portion in White Marsh and Plymouth to coordinate directly with both of those municipalities.
No, I mean, how are they doing it currently, or have they done? Okay. Thank you. So are we done? Any other? Okay, so no vote on that tonight. And the next item on the agenda is to consider approving 440 East 9th Avenue Financial Security Escrow Release Number 1 in the amount of $67,220. So I will need a motion to approve 440 East 9th Avenue Financial Security Escrow Release Number 1 in the amount of $67,220.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Under Department Matters, there are none. Under Legal Matters, discussion on an amendment to the Parks and Recreation Ordinance. Mike, can you take care of reviewing the amendment to the Park and Recreation Ordinance?
Sure. So your Park and Rec ordinance section of your ordinances was extraordinarily out of date. It didn't even reference the fact that you have a recreation department. I'll note we did update it a few years ago so that you could adopt rules and regs via resolution. So your rules and regs are more or less okay, although we're adding some. But the Park and Rec section of your ordinance was very much focused on Marywood Park and on the A field, and to the extent there was a park commission, it was only for Marywood Park. So working with Steph and also with Lauren, we've come up with an ordinance that actually reflects how the borough operates in current times. That creates, well, it doesn't create, but it acknowledges the existence of the Recreation Services Department and their responsibility over the park and rec areas. We actually identify and lay out the existing park and rec areas of the borough. It creates a new Park and Rec Commission. Again, previously that commission only dealt with Marywood Park. Now it would deal with all park and rec areas, including Marywood Park. The commission as set forth in the ordinance contains 5 members, 2 of whom can be from Borough Council. That commission acts as an advisory board to both the Recreation Department and to Borough Council on issues related to Park and Rec, obviously, such as rules and regs, improvement of Park and Rec areas, new Park and Rec areas of interest to the borough, ordinance amendments, and with respect to new developments coming in, whether or not the Park and Rec areas as in existence will be adequate for that new development. Borough staff is permitted to attend their staff meetings. We did keep in there the separate rules and regs for the A Field and Marywood Park, removing only a couple things that were legally problematic in there that could have raised First Amendment issues, but though I think there were only 2 things that had to come out. And otherwise, you had already several years ago, as I said, amended it so you can do the rules and regs by resolution. So that's why you see on here number B, or letter B, is some amendments that Lauren requested to the resolution, which I'll discuss with you next. So happy to answer any questions on the ordinance, but again, the main thing it does is create the Park and Rec Commission, really. And that commission is laid out as an advisory body to Borough Council and the Rec Department.
Any questions?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward,
Yeah.
guys, yeah. Do you want me to hit B?
Sure.
So B, as on your agenda, is discussion on a resolution establishing rules and regs in borough parks, playgrounds, and recreational areas. So as I said, your ordinance already provides and will still provide that you establish your rules and regs via resolution, so we don't have to do an ordinance amendment every time. What Lauren has asked to add is no feeding of wild animals, no e-bikes, motorbikes, scooters, etc. on trails. You already had that in there for playground and basketball courts, but now we add it for trails as well. No food trucks except at borough events, no inflatables except at borough events. And then Lauren asked, and I'll add this to the draft for your consideration in 2 weeks. She asked that we also add in there that the restriction on bicycles, not e-bikes, but bicycles and skateboards be added to the trail at Sutcliffe Park. So that is a suggestion that Lauren had as well, that just it didn't make it into this draft, but we would add for the draft in 2 weeks. So I'm happy to answer any questions on that. Otherwise, we kept all your previous regs in there.
Any questions? No? Okay, well, there's no vote tonight on that. No vote. Okay, so the next thing is the discussion of resolution authorizing a mutual aid agreement with White Marsh Township for emergency services. And Mike, can you handle that?
So in talking with White Marsh about a couple things, including item D, which is the intergovernmental agreement for 41433, we realized throughout those conversations that we didn't have a mutual aid agreement in place with White Marsh yet. I think as a practical matter, you already provide mutual aid, but this documents that. It formalizes that relationship. Mutual aid would be for police, fire, EMS, and emergency services to the extent the 2 towns offer those services. Everybody will continue to pay for their own employees. We indemnify each other, and it can be terminated at any time. Nothing of particular interest really to note about this. These agreements are extremely common, and you provide mutual aid anyway, but now we're documenting it. So that's it. I don't have to go on any more about it. It's, again, pretty straightforward.
Any questions? There's no vote on that tonight. So the next item is discussion on a resolution authorizing intergovernment agreement with White Marsh Township for code and inspection enforcement related to 401-433 Washington Street. Again, Mike.
Yeah, this one was less straightforward in coming to fruition, but it's now pretty straightforward. So part of 401-433 Washington, as you know, part of one of the buildings and also exterior areas are within White Marsh Township. In connection with the development, we discussed with them and have been discussing with them for some time what happens during construction and then also what happens after the development is done. As a practical matter, it hasn't mattered too much currently because the engineer for both towns, the engineering firm is the same for both towns, so it's been pretty seamless. But there are things that we needed to document in terms of how inspections of both the buildings and the exterior areas, and then also inspections moving forward, like rental inspections, would occur. The borough at all times was ready to, or at least on a staff level, was ready to step up and say, most of this development is in the borough. So what would end up happening if we didn't address this is that you'd have some units within that building subject to our rental inspection program and some units subject to White Marsh's rental inspection program with different fees. And it would have been relatively messy. We can fix that through this intergovernmental agreement, which gives us authority to do the inspections within White Marsh. So the way it's set up, during construction, the borough would do the inspections under both the municipality's planning code and also the building code, and then after construction, rental inspections and other code inspections would be done by the borough. Those inspections are paid for by the fees, just like they are now. So with respect to the MPC inspections, they're paid through the escrow with the developer, and then once the work is done, the cost of everything will be paid through the fees that the borough already establishes. So as a practical matter, it's designed so there's no cost on either the borough or White Marsh, frankly, to do those inspections. And then we also put in here, we're anticipating some confusion or potential unfairness when it comes to how the real estate taxes are split for that building, because there's two parcels. So this agreement also has us agreeing with them to work in good faith to make that split one that makes sense from a proportionality standpoint. During construction, we'll be submitting monthly reports to them again. It's not a terribly big deal. The engineering firm is the same. Then after construction, we would just give them an annual report. There's indemnification language in here where we're indemnifying each other. And then at the end of the day, if for some reason this doesn't work out, there is a provision for cancellation within the agreement. We met with White Marsh, I guess it was last month, to make sure we were all on the same page, and we are. The language of the agreement has been approved by their solicitor as well. So again, it sounded complicated at first, but I think it's relative. Practically it's going to function simply because it's just the borough inspects everything in that development. So happy to answer any questions you guys might have. And the authority to do this does come under the Intergovernmental Cooperation Act, so you're acting within appropriate bounds.
Are those 60 apartments that are in White Marsh, are they clearly marked somehow for the?
Yeah, good question. We're not sure yet. They can be. I mean, we'll figure it out after they're constructed, but we asked the same question actually during the meeting, and I don't know, there could be one apartment that's in both at the end of it. Yeah, we don't know yet.
Yeah, I mean, how does that work for voting for them?
They'll vote. They'll vote it. Yep.
Oh, wow.
They'll vote in White Marsh. Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. Seems.
Yeah. Again, it was an interesting issue that could have been complicated had the municipalities not worked with each other. But it's, knock on wood, it should function pretty simply at this point.
I think, Adrian, didn't you want to align?
I think we may.
I think you did.
Love a demarcation line
Yes,
that
that's the
spans across the entire property.
entire property.
Adrian, we put that in the approval. Like, they have to do that.
They absolutely have to.
So, was it shown on the plan, Karen?
Yeah, there's 3 locations, I believe, where there's demarcations through the parking lot.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
The Serna demarcations, yeah. Great.
Anything else? Guess we're done with that. So the next thing on the agenda is council member and mayor matters. Mayor Aronson, what do you have?
Okay, we are busy. So the first thing is I did get to check out Rick's, which is the old Pizza Time, and it's stunning, absolutely beautiful. And they did a really nice job bringing in some of the old structure into the new structure. So there's like little touches like the sign that remains, and a lot of the staff still remains. So so it was really great to be in there, and food is great, as you can see from Matthew, and we're wishing them a lot of luck. And of course, they had really wonderful things to say about our staff as they went through all the approvals to open. So as always, it's great we have such a great team behind us. So congratulations to the Rick's team, and I can't wait to get back in there. I don't know if any of you are scouring the Flyers alumni social media, but they announced that when they're here for their 5K on June 14th, that head coach Rick Tocchet will be here. So super excited for that. So I will certainly be there to help welcome him into the borough. And as soon as we get through this weekend, we will start focusing on that weekend. But please mark your calendars for Sunday the 14th. I did a podcast for the community college in honor of the 250th. And it was about why local government matters. So I got to talk about some of the things like we did tonight that people don't really think about all the time as far as elected officials. So code and potholes and all those little things that we think are fascinating. But it was really fun. I have a link will be in my newsletter. There's a social media post on my all my sites. So if you want to listen to it, it was a really good time. And really just sort of tip my hat to our team and to all of you for all the hard work you do. So so please take a listen. And then finally, this thing happening on Saturday, the Conshohocken Arts Festival and Car Show and Conshohocken Classic Bike Race. I think everyone's really, really excited to kick it off. We have more registrations than ever, both for vendors and for cars already. So I think everyone has sort of got the vision and the really cool setup that we're testing out this year. So so please come out 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. We actually extended the hours this year to align with the bike race, so we'll have more time to hang out. Music schedules posted, awards at the Fritz Lodge music stage at 3 o'clock, and we look forward to seeing you out there. It should be a very sunny but very hot day. That's it for me.
Ralph? Stace?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
No comments this evening.
Adrian?
Nothing.
Nothing from me, thank you.
Well, I would like to thank Lauren and the crew at the community center for the senior luncheon today. His Honor and I had the pleasure of serving the senior people, that is my cohorts. I think I'm probably the only person in this room who remembers the bicentennial. So these people for the 250 are going to have to do a good job to top that. And happy Pride Month to all who celebrate. Anything else? Any public comment? Nope. Adjourned.